Hello there, I'm Maya, and I work for the French Federation of Social Centers. You won't see me during this event because I'm hiding behind the cameras with the staff, but I have been engaged in Findyourself's program nearly since the beginning. I have learned a lot about our different organizations and the way we work with and for youth in our different countries. And we're about to share with you a bit of these similarities, differences, and specificities. But before that, I don't know about you, but I would love to discuss a bit about youth, participation, and commitment, to make sure that we are talking about the same thing, or at least have a common framework that we are free to discuss after. Because I have noticed that when we talk about youth participation and commitment in society, which we are here to support and foster, we don't all assume the same thing, and for many reasons. Are young people really engaged in society? Are they less engaged than before? Has their commitment changed over the years? Why do they commit? How can we support them? Well, let's find out and answer together, with the help of guests, to these questions. Common narrative on youth today says that youngsters are not engaged in society, not interested in politics or social issues, that they only care about themselves. But is this really true? I have asked Lama Zenoin-Tabet, who is a trainer and expert in youth empowerment in Lebanon and Euro-Mediterranean countries, and she thinks exactly the opposite.
When we say youth are not engaged, they are. When someone builds an interest to a certain issue, it's because they feel they are part of it. If they don't feel that they are part of it, or that they have a voice, or that they have this kind of ownership, of course they will not be interested. And there is a gap between local governments and the young people. So they are not represented, their voices are not heard, and their ideas and concerns are not taken into consideration. Of course, they will not be interested because they don't believe in the local politics as something that responds to their needs or wants to hear their voices. When young people feel that they can make a change, they are engaged and they are motivated. They just need the space. They just need policies that allow them to be represented and allows them to be heard.
Based on her experiences on the field, Lama has identified the topics, the issues they most care about today.
If it's related to them, so what are the issues that they most care about for themselves, for their own development? The common issue that young people are all interested in now in all the region is their future. So their main concern, and they spend a lot of time making sure that they are taking the right steps in their education, or they have the right path to build a career and build experiences. If I want to revert the question and thinking about what do they care most about in terms of others, it really depends on where we are. Young people are affected by what they see around them. And they see things, they hear things, and they are moved by these things. 1 year ago, I can tell you that young people were interested in taking part in activities that will bring them together with other young people from other countries. But now, after the COVID-19 pandemic, you can see that now young people are looking around them and trying to see what is happening and where they can be most beneficial. I see a lot of examples of young people trying to support their peers in their mental health, which became a very big issue lately.
If they are influenced by what surrounds them, it means that their commitment may be moving and changing over time. Is their commitment the same than what we were used to know? I have asked Jocelyn Lachance, who is a sociology lecturer at Pau University in France and member of the Energy and Environmental Transitions Laboratory. He has written about adolescence, and he explains,
during a lot of years, the sociologists were looking for traditional form of commitment. So they were looking for manifestation and to be involved in associations, for example. But the reality is we are still with people, young people who are committed, engaged, but they take new forms.
How can we define their new form of commitment then? What can we say about their commitment today?
So there's always a politic part of the commitment and an identity part of the commitment. And sometimes we only see a politic part. So we are questioning the values, what is explaining why they are engaged or not. But in fact, we see that the identity part is very, very important. And most of the young people we meet, they are somewhere between the politic part and the identity part. But others, they are more in the identity part. So they are there not only firstly for the values they defend, but more because they can express their ability or their quality. They can find a kind of sociability in a group, for example. One question the young people are asking to themselves sometimes is how to show I'm engaged. And of course, with the ICTs actually, we can imagine that some people can be engaged without to be visible. They will, for example, share videos or photos or statistics, but with account they will not show their real face. So it's actually possible to to be engaged without showing you are.
So as we see it, youth commitment takes different forms according to what they are looking for, making it hard sometimes for us adults to understand how and where they are committed.
Sometimes they will express their engagement in a personal and intimate life, day-to-day life, with sometimes, like very small actions from our point of view can appear as like not really engaged. We see it like online. But the new things or the recent thing is really to be aware about the small action was not meaning for us. And when we look further and when we ask them what is behind these small actions, you discover sometimes there's a lot of meanings. One sociologist, Geoffroy Players, is give a very good definition of this. For me, it's the best one actually, because he's talking about the commitment as a kind of experimentation, creative experimentation. We become adult today by experimentation, by trying things.
That's why Jocelyn invites us to change our look and posture when we work with young people.
We need to help them to experiment new form of engagement. And this is very hard because, of course, when we are adults, sometimes we have a specific way to imagine how we should express the commitment. So the best way to accompany them is to all the time let open the way on the front of them. So it means that you can initiate, for example, a program or activity, but to be always ready to adapt yourself. Because if you have a static way to accompany them, you risk to see young people just quit the group and go away. And often it happens. An example is how you manage the time when you are with young people. Sometimes young people will not come for a meeting, for example. The problem is sometimes we will think that, maybe it's not interesting anymore about the program or the activities. In the interviews we conduct with young people, we see that often the decision of the young people doesn't belong to the program of the activities, but belongs from another reason. So it's another way to say we forget sometimes that they are young people, teenagers or young adults, and they have their specific problems, specific questions, and they have sometimes other things to think than to be like all the time on the program or the activities.
In other words, they are also people with their own lives, desires, and aspirations. This is something Yassine Belharab has insisted on a lot. He's in charge of international cooperation for the Youth and Sports Ministry of Morocco. For him, our society has to change the way it looks at young people.
First of all, to consider them as actors in the societies. Also, they have to be involved in the community, not to be considered as not concerned directly by the community issues. Another point is that we have to give the right to these youth, the right to speak, the right place to express themselves by legal framework. And also we have to give them the means to be involved and to get involved in the society. We have to consider them as fully citizens and not second-hand or second-level citizens. I think that we have to change our way of thinking about youth, the way we suppose that youth are only to receive and not to give.
You know, youth, you can get from them ideas. They have a very high level of innovation and creativity. When given the space, when given this chance, they can come up with great ideas. What they lack is a support structure that allows them to implement these ideas in a way that would have an impact.
Exactly. But what youth cooperation at a Euro-Mediterranean level, which is the way we chose to support their commitment in this project, can bring to them? Why supporting their participation, not only on a local scale but on an international one, is also important.
Youth are connected away. They are connected in the internet, and there is no limit between geographical limit, I say. So international cooperation can be very benefit for them because, first of all, it will allow them to struggle against xenophobia and also to struggle about, let's say, the bad judgment about people that perhaps we discover only through the screen, but we don't have direct contacts between them. The second point is that the international level will allow people to exchange their knowledges, and this is very important. We don't have perhaps another way to let young people discover the other, discover his culture, discover his way of living, discover his behavior, discover his perhaps a perception to the world in general. And this can be realized only through international cooperation.
Jocelyn was talking about how some of them commit because it helps them build their identity, their skills, their friendships, which Lama confirms.
So if we look at this Euro-Mediterranean cooperation, we can see that young people are offered support on different levels. They develop competencies, they develop networking skills, they connect with young people from other countries and exchange and build lifetime friendships, and nobody knows where can this lead. And they do a lot of exchanges. If you only rely on local level, your capacities will only stay local. But when you start cooperating on regional level and international level, your mindset grows, your scope grows, and your opportunities grow.
And not surprisingly, youth cooperation on a Euro-Mediterranean level not only helps them, but can also help us.
And I am sure that any organization that was only doing local work 10 years ago and then shifted to the international or the regional level, even the organizational capacities change and the organization culture changes and becomes richer and becomes more effective to do even your local activities. The word participation was new to many youth organizations in the area, just like my organization. We never thought about the meaning of participation. And after we started being active on Euro-Mediterranean level, the way we work with young people changed. Now they have a voice, they have their space. They can design and implement their own initiatives and ideas.
We cannot speak about democracy if we don't have the means, if we don't give the means to these youth to express themselves. We cannot speak about democracy if we don't have the, let's say, the financial supports and also the technical support to these youth to express themselves.
One thing we should remember when we are adults is that we don't know. I think the best way and the best position we can take is to always remind to ourselves that we can be surprised.